Here we are, Marvel Monday, the first of Phase 2, and today we will be talking about Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World. So I watched both and figured why not do a double feature for this first one. I don't know that I could really talk too much about either of them individually, so I figure it'll blend well into one video. So what you'll see me doing is laying out the pages that I'm going to write my thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. And then there are 2 collage pages as well. And you will see those at the end in the flip through. And if you want to get a close-up look at either of those, I did post them individually on my Instagram. So check that out. All right, so let's start. Let's talk about Iron Man 3. This is another one of those movies that I went into it really not knowing anything about it at all. I think because I hadn't seen 1 or 2, by the time this movie came out, I was like, well, I guess I can't see 3. So even though I did see and like Avengers when it first came out, I just totally skipped over this movie. So I went into it really not knowing anything about it, which was, I think, super helpful. I think it was also really helpful to go straight from watching Avengers really recently into watching this, because I think it has a lot of good connections to Avengers, obviously, especially with like the way Tony's feeling and all that stuff. So that was really cool to watch them really close together. So I went into it with no expectations, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. I think because I didn't know about it, spoiler alert, obviously, you guys know that, right? Spoiler alert. Okay. Because I didn't know like anything about it, and I hadn't heard about any of the twists that happen. Each one of them, like, it's not that they shocked me, but I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, like every twist was pleasantly surprising for me. And I really honestly didn't see most of them coming. Maybe that's just because I'm a doofus, but I was definitely pleasantly surprised by all those little twists and turns that the movie took. I think it kept it really interesting. My favorite thing about these movies, the Iron Man movies, I've said already in all my videos, but especially in this one, is just seeing Tony be fallible, seeing him not be perfect, seeing him have to deal with the emotions from New York, from basically dying and falling through space in a freaking rip in the universe or whatever it was. Like, because I feel like usually in movies, in action movies like this and stuff, when they have sequels, it's like that stuff will happen and it's like so wild and insane and horrifying, and then they just like never talk about it again, or they're just like, yeah, well, you know, and you feel like, wow, wouldn't you be like stressed, or like wouldn't you be dealing with the aftermath? So I feel like that's one thing that I really love so far about the Marvel movies, is that they do deal with the aftermath of things. I enjoyed that a lot. And you'll see in the collage art page for this movie, I definitely tried to reflect that, because it is the part that I connected with the most. I know from just my little bit of research that I did, just basically like looking up the Wikipedia page to find the release date for this page and everything. I know that there was some controversy with the Mandarin character because it's racist, you know, obviously in the comics. But I think the way that they switched it up in this movie was really cool, and I did not see that coming. Like, at first I thought that when they found him and he said he was an actor and was like just kind of a goofball, I thought he was lying and that was going to be the next twist. But like, I don't know. I think Ben Kingsley was so good in that role. It's just so funny that he's like, you know, a Shakespearean trained like actor, stage actor, Oscar winner, you know, and then he was just like this goofy guy in a superhero movie. I'm so into that. I mean, I think that's so fun. So I thought that twist was cool. I really loved everything with Tony and Harley when he goes and finds the little kid, or runs into the kid. It's kind of cliche, but like just that idea of him having to be with this kid. But so it's like he is going through all this emotional turmoil and trauma and stuff, but he's still himself, and like that's good because it's what we love about him. So yeah, I thought that was a cool plot line. And then also, I think I've said this in my other videos recently, but I am watching WandaVision, or I did watch WandaVision. I watched the season that just ended recently, and which is like so silly because I haven't seen Infinity War, I haven't seen Endgame, so like truly. So I don't like, I'm kind of piecing it all together, but it just was such a cool show and it really sucked me in. So I had to finish it. So anyway, I know that Jarvis is Vision. I don't know how it happens, but I know that they're connected because it's Paul Bettany. So I thought it was cool, the part where Tony's in the suit and he falls in the ocean, and then basically Jarvis is the one that helps save him just using his like machinery. I don't know. I think it's cool that they're continuing to, as the movies go, I feel like give Jarvis more personality and more like kind of autonomy, and I'm excited to see how that goes and how he ends up becoming Vision and all that. I think it happens in Age of Ultron, but I don't know how. I really don't. I think I saw Age of Ultron, but I just have no memory of it. Anyway, the point is I'm excited to see how that goes down, and I think it was handled cool in this movie. And then I also like that he goes right from saving him and doing this kind of like thing that is kind of his own volition, and then he takes Tony to like the totally wrong place, which is, so it's like he's not perfect yet, obviously. That was really cool. I really love Don Cheadle still. I mean, he's just good in everything, you know. And what else? Oh, the post-credits scene for this one might be one of my favorites that we've seen so far, where Tony is kind of telling the whole story to Bruce Banner and is trying to treat him like he's his therapist, and Bruce is just like, I am not that kind of doctor. That was just really funny. And I liked seeing Bruce Banner show up. It was just really funny. So yeah, that was cool. And overall, I liked Pepper in this movie, was cool. I liked the whole happy angle, getting to see more of him because I know he does come back later. So that was cool too. And yeah, overall, it was just a fun movie that I really enjoyed. Oh, and I loved how in the credits, like at the end when they were showing like the names and stuff, that they put in little pictures from all 3 Iron Man movies. Very nice touch. I noticed and I loved it. All right, so let's move on. Thor: The Dark World. Okay, so this is another movie that I literally didn't know anything about. I went into it not knowing anything. I actually saw a spoiler, like, okay, so this movie's from 2013. I saw a spoiler for this movie on Facebook like last week. And I was like, why is anyone posting about this movie? Like, why do I have to worry about, and I don't care, you know, again, with spoilers, like because I'm watching WandaVision, because of all that stuff, like I know what happens to a lot of the characters. I know, I just don't know how it happens and I don't know the details of it. So, but yeah, it was just so random to see like somebody be like, oh yeah, Frigga's funeral. And I was like, well, okay. But it didn't like, again, it didn't bum me out. It was just like, oh, all right. And speaking of that, so, okay, well, let's talk about it. So this movie definitely is not one of my favorites so far. If it is your favorite, like, go off. I that's fine. I don't know anything about movies. I only know, like, you know, I'm not a critic. Like, you'll know, like, people who talk to me, I always tell them, like, I just don't have the energy to not like things. Like, I just watch it, and then if I don't like it, I won't watch it again. So this is a movie that I probably won't watch again. But I do think that there was a lot of good parts to it that I enjoyed and that I think give value to it telling like the greater story. Do you know what I mean? Because, okay, so what I really liked about it was definitely Loki. I talked about that with the first Thor movie and in Avengers and everything. I think he's such a fascinating character. I think Tom Hiddleston does like pretty seriously masterful work with him. It's like, it's you know, it's a superhero action, flashy movie, but you can see Loki like thinking, and you can see him feeling things, and you can connect with him on an emotional level. And I think that for a quote unquote villain is really important and maybe undervalued. Do you know what I mean? So him in this movie was great. I also love like the way that him and Thor's relationship grows and changes. I love that Thor always wants to give him another chance. Like, I feel like that's super relatable. Like, he's a god, but he just like wants his brother to be his brother. Even after everything, like after New York and after all the stuff, he still is like, I just like keeps wanting to kind of give him another chance, you know? And I think that's relatable too. And I loved seeing sad Loki after the mother's death, and that was really intense. And I love the way he uses the illusion in his prison cell to like change what people can see from the outside. That was really cool. I think that they just treated Natalie Portman like a piece of furniture in this movie. Like, I don't know. I was watching it and like thinking about how she was just kind of like, maybe she was busy and like, so just couldn't be on set a lot. I don't know. It was like, I just feel like she was so underutilized, and like, she's probably a better actor than like maybe everyone in this movie except maybe Anthony Hopkins. Like, again, I don't know. It's just, I feel like that was kind of a waste, but with what they did, she did great. You know, my biggest gripe with this movie was definitely the villain. I just didn't connect to it at all. I was confused. All the stuff with the elves and the big action scenes, you guys know I check out during that stuff. So I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. But Heimdall, oh my God, I should have printed a picture of him. I freaking love him. I love Idris Elba, obviously, but that character is so fun. Anyway, I didn't have much else to say about that movie. Let's get to the flip through. So as you'll see, I wrote on those little bits. If you want to read it, feel free to pause. And this is, I'm very, very proud of this collage page. I wanted to kind of embody that feeling that he's having of like flashing back to New York. So the city landscape is actually upside down, like he's falling. And it has that line, we create our own demons. I'm really proud of that. So again, pause if you want to read more of my Thor thoughts. I'm very excited to see Ragnarok again with this in context. I think that's going to be really fun. So, you know, I'll take it for what it was. And here's my Thor collage page, which I also really love. I put a little bit of New York in there, a little bit of that classic sculpture, some space in the corner. And I love that line that he gives to his father at the end of the movie. So that's it. 2 movies down in phase 2. I'll see you next week for Winter Soldier. Very excited to watch this one. Thanks.